Hey, Jonesboro. I'm Terri, and I'm an alcoholic. And it's been through the grace and the mercy of a powerful and loving power that I call God that you all introduced me to in these rooms and stuff like this. That I haven't had a drink all day. So yeah, or what did the grapevine say this morning, Brenda? I told you, I can't remember what it was. 7 years and 11 months and 11 days, according to the grapevine. So what does that mean, really? That means that I've stayed sober all day so far today, and it's how I do that, you know. And also, if I don't get some big red ass resentment, you know, between now and the 28th, I'll have another year. Thank you, honey. That's great. So it can be done. I'd like to thank you all. It's such a privilege to be your Friday night speaker on your 70th anniversary. That's huge, Jonesboro. I was here a while back, a long time ago, and then Abby said, you know, I'm the central office lady. All right. So yes, I'm here. I have books. Craig, I have your stuff, man. It's kind of like, I feel like a drug dealer, you know. Hey, man, how about the stuff? But I brought all the drunk junk too, so y'all come and see me. Yeah. I work today. Well, we both work today. My friend Brenda is here. She is a home group member, and she works at a Catholic church over not too far from me. And so when she got off work, I met her at her house and brought her here. And the funny thing about Brenda, well, I don't know if it's funny or not, she and I drank together in 1981, 82. Oh my gosh. She doesn't like to talk about that. And, you know, I don't really either. So I don't know if we'll get to that or not. So I guess I do need to qualify myself. I'm a member of the Bridging the Gap group in North Little Rock. Best home group on the planet. And if you don't think that your home group is the best one on the planet, get busy. Don't come mess up mine. Just get busy. So, yeah. Anyway, the big book says we told you what we were like, what happened, and what I'm like today. So I hope in the interest of time and good taste I can do that. My sponsor says if you go over 60 minutes, it's all ego, so let's get going. I was born in Los Angeles, California in 1961. And the only reason that's important is because it's the first recorded resentment that I have, you know. And not that I was born in LA, but a few years later, they moved me to Little Rock, Arkansas, y'all, and I didn't want to go. I'm a little kid, and where's the beach? Where's Disneyland? It's cold, it's dark and damp. When can we go home? Well, that never happened. I'm an only child. Ha, I know, right? Somebody went, ha, say, me too. And it's older, yeah. Someone told me one time there should be a 12-step program just for us. We'll work on that. But yeah, I'm the only child between my parents, very Baptist. Nobody drank in my family. Let me say that again. No one drank in my family. You know, you don't hear a lot of that, but some. But I'm different, you know. I talk different, I look different, and I'm just, by George, different. And, you know, I keep, going to church and, and very, very religious family. Bless their hearts. I didn't get it there, I saw people around me getting it at church, and I wanted it so bad. But, the difference between what I was doing and what they were doing is they were practicing their religion, and I was doing nothing. I was waiting on someone to hand me my spirituality, and that just didn't happen. y'all, they tried to drown me 3 times, and even that didn't work. So, there I am, and I'm different, and I'm a latchkey kid. I spend an awful lot of time alone. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I can, today I'm pretty good by my own self. And it just gets better all the time, Brenda. No, I'm teasing. Anyway, so fast forward a little bit. I'm 14, and I'm at school one day. I guess that's middle school. I'm at school one day, and they walk up and go, "Hey, you want to go and skip school at Roy's house?" I was like, "Yeah, because, wow, I'm going to be part of, man. Here we go." And so we go over there, and there's all these kids, and, and they say to me, "Terry, would you like a drink?" "Why, yes, I would. Thank you very much." And they poured me about, 2 or 3 fingers of scotch. It was Cutty Sark. Oh, but y'all, listen here. I took that drink, and it first of all, it tastes awful, but it burned. And then it just kind of spread out, and all of a sudden, I was funny, I was pretty, I was smart, and please pour me another one of those. I don't know how I got the bottle, but I did, and I blacked out. I'm a blackout drinker. Oh, did I mention that I grew to be 5'10" when I was 11 years old? So I'm a little bit different. I'm a little bit, by this point, I'm a little bit drunk. I'm quite a little bit drunk. And I come to the next day and I think, man, I am going to do that as much as humanly possible. Every chance I get. Now, you can't do it real well at home if you're an only child with 2 Baptist parents that don't drink. So what do? I run away. I begin running away. I am that kid that I pray none of you ever have to have, or any of your grandchildren, because those 2 people did not deserve what I dished out to them. And the runaway thing, it was every bit what you think it was, all right? Out there on the streets, man. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I found every pedophile in town. And in the 70s, it was like, okay, baby, well, hey, you're 15? Yeah, well, I'm 42, but, I booked these rock and roll bands. Sign me up. Sign me up. I run girls. Do you mind? No, I don't care. I don't care. I make book. Is that a problem? No, that's no problem at all. You see, my ego was coming alive. And it was all about getting that next drink, getting something in me to change the way I felt at that moment. And so, and all of that stuff and all that went with it. One time, I came to on the 8th floor of the Baptist Hospital. Do y'all know what that is? That's a nut house in Little Rock, y'all. And, apparently I had been in a 2-week blackout because of I had moved up in the world. It was a Chevis and a Splash and some Quaaludes. So anyway, the dry goods came too. Lots of dry goods. It's what our past delegate, this member of my group, calls it dry goods. Used to call it outside issues. But so what do? I marry the outside issues marketing man. Hey, he lived from here to the parking lot, from a liquor store his daddy owned. He sold outside issues, and guess what? He played drums and rock and roll band. What else do you need if you're me? Huh? I'm that. So, and that's where it really began, y'all, because it was there all the time, and I could drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. For 4.5 years, I did that stuff up my face because people didn't set fire to it back then, to my knowledge. And I could drink, but I couldn't come down. You can't get your damn teeth open, that thing. And big old fat. I mean, he was great. Bless his heart. He's a great big old guy. And he'd sit down and eat a plate of food and go to sleep. and I wanted to stab him in the left eye because I couldn't come down. And I would just literally drink. So after all that, I'm getting on, I'm 25 years old by this point. And I skidded into AA on my face. I did. I'd been in and out of mental institutions, or not, well, that one time, but, seen psychiatrists and seen pastors and, and been arrested and all gone to jail and done all that stuff. And I just didn't have any other options. And I don't know where, probably something that the PI committee had put out. Y'all know what the PI committee is? Public information. They're the ones that do the commercials and stuff. And I'd probably seen a commercial. And I was at home with my folks, and one more time they're crying. Because you know what? When I'm drinking, I don't give three shits about you. Excuse me. I just cursed on your tape. I'm so sorry. Ha! You're bad. Yeah. But, I don't care about you. All I care about is getting mine and doing mine, man, and whatever that takes. But at this point, I don't know. I am this old. I opened the phone book. And I was looking for Narcotics Anonymous, but I couldn't find it. Because, it was so much more glamorous at the time to be an NA than just garden variety drunk. But what I found was AA. And I called 501-664-7303. That is the hotline to the Arkansas Central Office. This woman answers the phone. She goes, AA Central Office. And I'm like, oh, hello. I'm an alcoholic. And I live in Sherwood. And I'm looking for one of your classes. That's how I get that all the time. I need to go to those classes. Well, okay, come on. And she goes, oh, yeah, my home group meets tonight. It's over on JFK. It's a women's meeting. I think you'd like it. Small, intimate. Yeah, I'll meet you there. It's at 8 o'clock. Because meetings used to be at 8 o'clock. Did you know that? I knew that. You knew that. You knew that. And I said, okay. She goes, wait. She said, you said you're an alcoholic. And I said, yeah, I am. And she said, where have you been going to meetings? And I said, I've never been to one. She just laughed and laughed. And I was like, you know what? I'm dying and this bitch is laughing at me. But I got in my dad's truck because I didn't have the proverbial pot or the window or the car or any of that stuff, right? And so he loaned me his truck and I drove over there to the meeting. And I walked into a room probably about this size, with 10 or 12 of the prettiest, shiniest, clean, happy ladies. Oh my gosh, and they were so glad to see me. Listen, people were not real happy to see me at this point. No one, was asking me back. My gosh, they gave me their phone numbers. What? You want me to call? They let me cry and tell them about him. And they said, so you just keep coming back, honey? That is just fine. I got a book. Sure did. I knew my life was going to change, Brenda. I knew it. I felt so good I smoked a joint in the truck on the way home. So, we got to be careful what we say to the newcomers. We tell them, find somebody that has what you want and ask them to work the steps with. Ask them to be your sponsor. Because I had the same questions we all do. How much does this cost? What do I have to do? What are these steps? Why do I have to do that? What are your steps, Roy? Anyway. No, just find a sponsor. So there was this girl, and I had been at her first birthday, at that group, because I wasn't taking a drink. Now, I was doing the outside issues, But, she was about 40, and she looked real good. She had this great little haircut. She had a year of sobriety. She had a new house. She had a new car. She had a new boyfriend. And she owned her own business. It was a bar, for God's sake. So ding, ding, we have a winner here. And I asked that girl, and she said, like we do, oh, well, let me ask my sponsor if I can do this. Because she's just got a year, man, So we started doing the thing, and I went to her house, and we sat down, and, admitted powerless over alcohol, that my life was unmanageable. Well, duh. I thought that unmanageable meant when I was drinking. Well, it did, but that's not all it meant, all right? That completely eluded me that day. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. Well, I'm Baptist. Okay. And she looks at me and goes, so, how's that working for you? Really? I thought, silly woman, just cut my feet off. I'm Baptist, all right? Pass. So we get on our knees and we say third step prayer, and I go home and I get drunk. But she introduces me to a boyfriend, all right? Oh my gosh, he's got 2 years, Terri. Now, what's wrong with this? Where are the flags? He's got 2 years, Terri, but he's got this work thing he wants to go to, and he's had trouble with relationships in the past. Oh, where do I sign? Yes. So anyway, that didn't go real well, and the ex-husband was chasing. We're back and forth and doing all stuff, and I wind up in a women's facility, a treatment facility, for 30 days, and I start getting sober in the fellowship, and it happens really quickly. Now, I changed sponsors, and this gal, we blew through the first part of the steps. She said, go home and write your case history. What is a case history? Case history is the great American novel. I was 25 years old, and it was 126 pages long, front and back. Oh my God. She read it, called me up, and went to her house. We sat there and told war stories for about an hour. I went home, just like the book says. I took the book down off the shelf, and I looked over the first proposals. Have I done all this? Yeah, I've done this, sure. And did, said that 7-step prayer, and made my list, and I was off. And things changed really quickly. It was fun back then, y'all. There was a whole group of people that we ran around with, and some of them are still around today. Some of them are not. If you look around at the people you got sober with, how many are still here? How many? Whatever. I knew you'd do that to me. But really, how many are still there? I immediately found a boyfriend. Yes, I did. And then he became my husband in a year and 3 months sober. I got married. I don't recommend, folks. Don't recommend. Y'all, we have no opinion on this stuff, but this is experience. Stay away from the newcomers. Let them get sober. Did everybody hear me? Stay the hell away from the newcomers. Let them get sober. And if it's supposed to be, it will unfold. If not, then something else will be there. But, I was talking about this today to somebody, and it's like the women are the ones that typically get drunk. And that, whatever. So, yeah, and then I get a job making way more than my education. And then we get a new house, and I get a new car, and have all this vacation, and have all this money, and start doing all this service work. Service work doesn't keep me sober, y'all. Fellowship's fun, but fellowship doesn't keep me sober. Does anyone want to guess what I wasn't doing? It's my spiritual condition, y'all. See, I have a spiritual malady underneath all that. That restless, irritable discontent before I take that first drink, that's my ego in here longing for God. Longing for a God to fill this up. So all of a sudden I am big stuff. What do you mean? And the women that sponsored me sponsored all the sober women in Little Rock. So there you go. Yes, she did. And you asked me if I'd done this before. Yeah. I have. Her husband was the taper at the time, and somehow or another, that all happened. So, boy, don't you know. And I was, I'm chairing these committees, I'm going to meetings, I'm sponsoring women, I'm doing all this stuff without a spiritual leg to stand on. Did my life change? Yes. Was it worth it? Yes. You know, it took me out of the streets and out of this environment and got me to a place where maybe I could start hearing something, you know, because I'm just crazy. That's what I decided. Well, and folks, life on life's terms keeps happening. And I didn't behave very well. Let's just put it that way. You know, what others did, it's their deal. This is my story, and I didn't behave well. And I didn't behave like someone that had turned their will and their life over the care of a power bigger than myself. And so it was ugly, and it was messy, and at 10 years and 6 months on the nose, I took a drink. Yes, I did, in the fellowship. I was serving as DCM in District 9. I was serving as area chair for the CPC committee. I was on the winter holiday committee. Service work doesn't keep me sober. Does it, y'all? No. Boy. And for 18 years. 18 years I was out there. During that time, all I have ever wanted to be was a mother. Now, mind you, I'm drinking, and I come to one morning, and my friend that's a nurse brings a little thing that goes, pee on this, and I'm 38 years old and I'm pregnant. Oops. Something funny happened to me there. I wasn't drinking like I had been drinking. It's like it just, God shut it down somehow. I mean, I was and I did, all right? So I'll just say that, girls, I did. It's hard to admit this, but I drank with my daughter. I did. I'm not proud of it, but she's okay. And that testifies to what God can do more than any of my stupid stuff, you know. And she was lovely, and she was born, but I'm drinking, y'all, and I'm trying to keep it, you know, keep my wheels on. I think we used to call it maintain. You know, you're riding around in the car. Does anybody relate? Anybody old enough to relate to that? You know, and you get pulled over, the lights come on, and it's like, hey, man, put the... Hey, just maintain, man. It'll be all right. And that's what I'm trying to do out there in the world and drink. And I can't do it. I can't do it. So I sell my house in West Little Rock and I buy the house across the street from my parents. Now, at the time, I would have told you that. I was there because I had a year-old child. That was true. I needed help with her. I would have told you that my parents were elderly and they needed help. That was true also. But the real truth is I went over there to die. Yeah. And I just didn't die. Well, I lost my highfalutin job, of course, and, you know, and here I am over here, and, oh, geez, and this is what that looked like. You know, you take a drink, you take a drink, you take a drink, you get a little bit drunky, just a little bit drunky, and then you take a drink some more, and then the next day it's more and more and more, and then I'm throwing one of those knee-walking, snot-slinging, puking, awful drunks, and you come to, and I go, oh, how could this happen? So I go back to the rooms, and y'all love me, but anyway, you put your arms around me anyway, and I'm there for a minute, and I might get a week, a month, I might get something under my belt, enough to clean it out a little bit, and then somebody pisses me off, happens every time, you know, she's a bitch and he's a bastard, and you know, and I'm gone. Repeat and rinse. Repeat and rinse. Well, yeah, so many things happened. My little baby girl, what I wanted all my life wasn't enough. The power of alcohol, if you're like me, is the strongest thing in the world unless I have a power bigger than myself. That's it. That's pretty much it, y'all. My father dies, so it's my mother and myself and Mary Grace. And she goes to school, and that's just it. And then there's more boys. I mean, I've left the boys out, because Lord help me. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, next. Right? Her daddy overdoses and dies when she's 10. And her mother is just drinking. Oh, my Lord. And it's just one big convoluted cluster. And y'all know what I'm leaving out here. So, 8 years ago, and it was 8 years ago, and I remember quite clearly saying to someone, I'm going to have to stop drinking. This has gotten out of hand. And I said it to the wrong person. I'm not real sure how long I had been like that, but I was keeping the fifth 100 proof vodka in the freezer, and all this, that really good wine in the box, that you can cut the thing out and drink from the bladder when it gets down. Yeah. So, and of course with a glass. You always have to have a glass because it's real important how you look, right? I was so worried about who would see me in Alcoholics Anonymous after them seeing me, knee walking, acting like that. Anyway. So one Sunday afternoon, I'm laying on the couch. I'm watching Shameless. Did anybody ever watch Shameless? That's about that family full of drunks, and drinking my wine because it made me feel just a little bit better about myself. And the door opened, and 2 women from Alcoholics Anonymous and a lady from my church walked in. And I thought, oh dear, this is not going to be good. I've skipped over so much. I'm a serious blackout drinker, y'all. I mean, you go and you can't remember nothing, and then all of a sudden a little piece of it comes to, and you're like, shit, did I do that? All I remember about that night was one of these women is still, she's 41 years sober. Well, actually, she'll be 42 years. What is today? On the 15th this month, she'll be 42 years sober, and she's black. That has anything to do with anything. But she's from Uganda, and she ran the state jitter joint. What they call it? Mid-Arc. Anybody ever go to Mid-Arc in Little Rock and get detoxed? No. And my auntie is from Uganda, and she does not play. And she came in, she sat down. I sat on the hearth in front of them, and she said, so, can you quit drinking? No, ma'am. Do you want to quit drinking? Yes, ma'am. But I'm not going back to Alcoholics Anonymous. She said, did I say anything about Alcoholics Anonymous, Terry? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I remember I said, well, now, I may have to go back to treatment because, I just really, and she leaned back and she looked in my dining room where my books are, and she went, how many big books do I see in there? Do you really need another $40,000 big book, Terry? No. And I came to, guess where? 8th Floor Baptist Hospital the next day. And that was ugly and it was nasty. And y'all know what it's like to drink like that. Do you know what it's like to drink like that? You come to and you make your way into the freezer and you take a hit. You take a big old long pull and it kind of gets you where you need to be. And then you find your wine glass and then you go in and you lay down and you drink your wine in case somebody's looking. And your daughter's hiding from you across the street in her grandmother's garage because God knows what she's seen. God only knows, And she's 16 and she doesn't have anybody but me and her grandmother. Well, actually, her grandmother, I'm sorry, had died by this point. My mother died that year, and so she had nowhere to go. She had me. While I was in the detox unit, a man brought me one of those little tiny big books. I have some, by the way. They'll be outside at the Arkansas Central Office table later. No, I'm teasing. They will. The little ones. And, I'm old. My God, I was 55 years old at that point. And I could barely see it. But it was like I had never read that book before. And there's a man actually married to that gal that I was telling you about, my first sponsor, that looked so good and had the business and all that. In my head, I kept hearing him say, hit your knees in the morning and ask God to remove the obsession, and then shut up, because God doesn't need your help. And so I knew I was hallucinating. I was hearing Tim's voice in my head. But after 10 days, they let me go. Mary Grace and I had plane reservations to go to Phoenix, where the last of my family is, for the holidays. And so we did, and we got out there. Remember I told you nobody in my family drinks? Did I tell you that? Yeah, and so like the first or second night that I'm there, I'm in the front bedroom of my aunt's house, and that feeling starts coming back. Now, I'll give you, I've been in detox for 10 days, and then, a few days here. That pressure, that restless and irritable and discontent thing that's coming up inside of me, I was like, oh my God. So I hit my knees, and I said, all right, God, whatever. If you get me back to Little Rock, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. Well, he did. We did. We did Christmas, and and then came on back and stopped late over in Las Vegas. Not a big Las Vegas girl, It's like I never gambled thing. I always liked to go and sit on the stool and drink, while you played nickels. But so I come back. I know where the meeting is, right? And I go, and it's a candlelight meeting, thank God. And it starts at 7 o'clock. Who knew? So I walk in, and they've already started. The candles are going, and I go and I sit on the half measures row. And this gal goes, would anybody like a desire chip? Oh, by the way, I found your poker chip. Did you lose your poker chip? Because I found it over here. All you have to do is come get it. That's all I had to do that night, was go and get it. But my attitude went. And she's like, I'm like, get off me. Just get off me. So I knew this woman that was in the meeting, and I liked her. She's fun. I thought she's funny and fun and all this kind of stuff. And she was. Little tiny Italian girl, about this big, from New Jersey. What does that mean? That means she will kill you. And so I said, can you sponsor me? And she's like, well, let's go talk about it. So we went to the Starbucks and we sat down, and she's like, Terri, how many times have you been at this? And I said, I don't know, Linda. I know just right now. And I told her about going to Phoenix and telling God that if he'd get me back to Little Rock, I'd do it. She's like, okay. I said, hey, this is how sick I was. I was like, Linda, can I maybe just have a glass of wine every now and again? Nope. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to start in the 12 and 12. And so that's exactly what we did. And I didn't want to do it. Oh, but I didn't know. There was nothing else for me to do, you guys. I'm old. I'm drunk. Or I had been until I went to the dang detox. That was it. So we sat down and we looked at that. And yes, ma'am. I know she wanted me to write down what I wanted my God to be. And I misheard her. What I wrote down was the things that brought me joy. What were those things? That was my daughter. That was the look in her eyes when she was a little baby. That was, the sand and the surf and the sea level. That was birds in flight. That was the smell of cigarettes and coffee in the morning. All those things that brought me joy that I hadn't enjoyed in a long time. So, that was good enough. And I was ready. I didn't know what God was. Up to that point, it was like, you leave me alone, I will leave you alone. All right? But I knew what he wasn't, and that was me. And I had made a royal mess of my life. So we did step 3, and then we got to start on step 4. Y'all ever done it out of the book? Have you ever done it with the columns? Don't go across, Terry. Go all the way down. And I'd take it over there, and she'd go, go all the way down. And that took a couple of weeks, and then it took a couple of weeks to do my 5th step. Oh, I missed something. I sure did. 2 years before I got sober, my daughter was going, oh, I don't know, everybody has daddy but me. Daddy, 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 daddy. So I was like, oh, crap, where do I find one of those? Well, at the shithole bar around the corner, that's where you find him. And I did, and I married him, and it was ugly, and it was, just throw down, drunken fist fight. And I sustained a traumatic brain injury, had surgery, and drank 2 more years. Of course I did, because that's the way I roll, man. So yeah, anyway, so I'm getting sober, and my kid is 16 at this point, right? Oh my Lord. I bet you I wore that hallway out. That tile in that hallway, I wore it out, saying the Serenity Prayer in the morning. Are you gonna come? Would you come on? I'll be there in a minute. Well, I mean, bless her heart. What has she been through? She didn't deserve any of my crap either. The best I ever got before working the steps that time was what had happened to me. Not how did Terri participate? What was Terry's part? How did Terri start this? Because it's always me. Anyway, we got through that. Whew. Bless her heart. I joined that little group, and then all of a sudden I was the alternate GSR and the archives rep and the treatment person, and my friend Melissa was all the other stuff, that was above. So that was my home group for several years until they decided to make themselves a meeting instead of a group. And, the thing that I was telling her was, I am not doing any service work. Do you understand me? She's like, I don't care what you do. What you're doing is not going to take a drink, and you're going to work these steps. That's what we're doing. That was a lot of fun. I tell you, there was probably 5 or 10 on any given day, ladies in that group. And they put their arms around me. And they said, come on, go with us. And I did. I didn't want to. It's like, I didn't want to go. And they were like, we don't care. Get in the car. So I did. Brenda was one of those, I had to have that. And it had to be the gals this time. It just did. I slept a lot. I still sleep a lot. I do. I still sleep a lot. It's some kind of neurological thing, and, I can't give into it. And I want to give into it. Anyway, so, because of her work and whatever, and I'm just a needy bitch, I guess, I needed to find another sponsor. And so I had been, this woman that's a neighbor and a member of this other home group, and I had been talking anyway, and so I asked her if she'd work the steps with me, and so one more time I get to work the steps with somebody else. And then COVID hits. Oh, boy. That was fun. But you know what? Bring it. I can stay in my house. They're going to bring the Walmart. They're going to bring the food and the cat food. Bring it on, baby. I can just stay in there. I can go to meetings online. Psh, whatever. I know I'm a weirdo. And I'm sitting here looking at the best looking bunch of weirdos I've seen in a long time. I'm glad we found each other. So yeah, and I'm cooking along, and and I start volunteering. My friend over here that I keep referring to got me into doing the central office. She was volunteering, and they were going, I don't know, to Europe or Florida or somewhere for a month or 3. And I said, okay, I'll do your shift at the office. And that's how I started doing that. And then she brought me on one of these things. And we came up here, I think, and we went to Mountain Home. And that was a lot of fun. And yeah, that's how this happened. And now I'm one of your special workers. That's been hard. Yes, it has. Anyway, I am starting to feel real crunchy on the inside. And I'm not talking to my sponsor, and I'm going to meetings, and I'm going to the office, but I'm praying, and I'm trying to meditate, and I'm starting to feel real crunchy. And quite honestly, y'all, my ass was falling off. And I told God one day, and I said, look, I'm real thick in the head. Thick in the head, get it? It's a joke. Boy, is this thing on? So, a little time rocked on, and this woman had been coming to the group, and I still don't know what she said that night. But whatever she said, it was like it hit me right between the eyes, and it was like God said, get up and go talk to that woman. So I did. I walked up, and you know how we do. I said, look, I don't know what you think or feel about people that change sponsors and home groups and whatever, but I'm really, really needing some help. And she said, everything has a season. And I was hooked. And so I've gotten to work the steps again. Each time I work the steps, y'all, I find out something more about me. Each time I work the steps, y'all, I find out something about me, and it's replaced with something about y'all. Something about God. Who knew? And why do I make it so hard? Why do we make it so hard? Why don't we just, I come in and I hear these people, I just let go and everything is wonderful. That's nice. Some of us are thicker than others. So, like I said, a couple of years ago, I was hired as one of your special workers. And I thought that was just going to be lovely. We're going to, all me and the little alcoholics, we're just going to trip off in the cosmos. That's not a dig on a group at home. It's, somewhere off here doing this, and guess what? That's not how it works. I tell you what, I got grace. I got love and empathy for the new people because they sick. You're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm grateful. And I don't know what it was about Thanksgiving. I don't know about y'all, but I tell you what, I was bad to throw drunk on Thanksgiving. And that last time in 2016 was no different. And today, instead of drowning myself, I get to be here with y'all. Y'all are some of the best weirdos I've ever met. And I really do. I have friends here in Jonesboro, and I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you, asking me to do this. I don't know if it helped anybody, but, I've stayed sober. And Roy stayed sober, so that's what matters. And thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving. Congratulations, Jonesboro. Thank you so much.